In the heart of the shattered city, where once gleaming skyscrapers now crumbled like forgotten dreams, a fragile equilibrium teetered. The apocalypse had left scars, both visible and hidden, etched into every brick, every soul. The survivors clung to life, their resilience tested daily by the twin specters of corruption and chaos. The city of Ashen Vale stood at the crossroads of despair and defiance. Its streets, once bustling with life, now echoed with the hollow footsteps of those who dared to rebuild. Among them were the very architects of their downfall, the corrupt soldiers and cops who had once wielded power like a blade. Captain Mara Kellis, her uniform frayed and stained, led the ragtag group. Her eyes held secrets, guilt perhaps, or the weight of countless lives lost. She had seen the city crumble, had watched as hope turned to ash. Now she carried the burden of redemption, a fragile ember in a world gone cold. Beside her walked Sergeant Jax, a man of few words but many scars. His loyalty was unwavering, even when it meant following orders that twisted his gut. He had seen the worst of humanity, the bribes exchanged in dark alleys, the innocents caught in the crossfire. Yet, he clung to duty like a drowning man to driftwood. The people, however, had other plans. They gathered in the remnants of the central square, their voices rising like a defiant chorus. Elena, a seamstress turned rebel, stepped forward. Her eyes blazed with righteous anger. "Enough," she cried. "We won't rebuild under their watch. The corrupt have no place here." The crowd murmured agreement. They remembered the days when justice was a mockery, when the law served only those who could pay for it. The soldiers and cops were relics of a broken system, their badges tarnished by betrayal. And so the city resisted. They planted gardens in the rubble, tended to wounded strangers, and whispered forbidden stories of a time before the cataclysm. The corrupt leadership watched, their anxiety growing. They knew their grip was slipping, that the people's defiance threatened their fragile hold on power. But the city had another adversary, the earthquakes. They came like clockwork, shaking the ground, toppling half-repaired walls, and stealing lives. Some said it was the city's rage, a primal scream against injustice. Others believed it was punishment for sins committed long ago. As the tremors intensified, Captain Mara Kellis faced a choice. She could cling to the old ways, enforce corrupt laws, and maintain order through fear. Or she could listen to the whispers of change, the hope that bloomed like a stubborn weed through the cracks. In the end, she chose the latter. She stood before the people, her voice raw with emotion. "We rebuild together," she declared, "not as oppressors, but as partners. Let justice be our cornerstone, not our downfall." Sergeant Jax nodded, his hand on his holstered gun. "It won't be easy," he said, "but maybe the earthquakes will remind us that we're all fragile, that power corrupts, but compassion heals." And so the corrupt soldiers and cops became reluctant allies. They patrolled the streets, not as enforcers, but as protectors. The people watched, wary yet hopeful. The earthquakes still came, but now they seemed less like punishment and more like a reminder. The city could crumble again, or it could rise anew. In the heart of the post-apocalyptic wasteland, where anxiety and defiance danced a delicate tango, the city of Ashen Vale found its purpose. It wasn't about rebuilding the past. It was about forging a future where justice, not corruption, held sway. And perhaps, just perhaps, the earthquakes were the city's way of saying, "Choose wisely."
Today, let's touch on the Bible history of our ancestors. Join us as we captivate the mind with remarkable history.
Our history doesn't start with slavery in America. You have ancient archaeology proving you're the lost tribes of Israel.